What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. That's right. Today I'm going to be answering some questions that I've been reading in the comments section a lot lately, okay? And that is, what happens to military in jail and prison? Veterans, ex-military, or active duty military, because I've seen both. Now, as far as prison goes, I didn't see too many ex-military in there, and that doesn't mean that there wasn't. I'm sure there was plenty, but there was only about 2 individuals that I got to know, and they always had the same story. The 2 guys I met in prison that were from ex-military, they have the same story, and I'm gonna get into that in a second. But in jail, it's a little different because you see so many different people coming in and out of jail on a regular basis, and I saw a lot of military. And not only that, I live in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake area. So there's military bases all around us. In Norfolk, I got freaking fighter jets flying over my house every single day. And in this area, there's a lot of bars, a lot of clubs, and, young military guys that like to go out and drink. And sometimes they start a lot of trouble. I got some stories to go along the lines with that as well. But before we get into that, since we're talking about the military mind state, let me just tell you, I've been binge watching a show, ladies and gentlemen, with my wife. We are in season 2, episode 4. We finished a whole season and a half in just pretty much one day, okay? Game of Thrones. I don't know why I have not watched this show yet. It is absolutely amazing. I'm addicted to it, man. I can't stop watching. I mean, it's even pulled me away from playing Call of Duty all day, So it's a great show. If you haven't started watching it, it might not be for some people because, it takes place in it's not real, but it takes place in like medieval times. And, but a lot of the stuff that they do in this show kind of correlates with the old medieval times, okay? Let's say, what's strange, back then, they always used to say, my name is so-and-so, father of so-and-so, house from the house of so-and-so. They don't do that no more. Nowadays, no one gives a damn about who your father was or who your family is. But back then, when they introduced themselves, they would always state who their father was, what kind of family they come from. Even if the person didn't know them, they still said it. And another thing about back then, everybody was about honor, duty, and respect, and becoming a knight and trying to fight for the king's army, being loyal servants. And check it out, man. If you really think about it, okay, back then, all they had was swords. Of course, they had crossbows. But just picture, before even the crossbows came out, all they were doing to fight, they had huge shanks. That's all they did. I'm talking about there was no gun, so you're just walking around in battle with a huge freaking shank. It's like a big prison yard rumble. And when I watch shows or movies like that, I really try to immerse myself and picture what it would be like to live in that era, man. It's totally different world, But one more funny thing before we get into the topic. Check it out. I'm so wrapped around this freaking show. Yesterday, I dropped my wife off at P.F. Chang's. They have this takeout section, okay? It's a restaurant, and you can stop at the side of the road, and she can go into the takeout window door and go get it and bring it back to the car. So before she got out the car, I'm so immersed into this show. Man, you've been watching Game of Thrones too much when you start talking like the characters, I was like, fetch me my food, woman. And then she says, yes, my lord. I loved it, man. I loved it when she replied like that. And I didn't even have to tell her to reply like that. She just knows we are connected like that for her to say something stupid back to me. But it's funny, too, because, this show has a lot of sex in it. A lot of sex in it. And me and Brittany, we kind of play the jealous role sometimes. Not really jealous, but we act like we are. So every time a sex scene, I'm talking about there's a lot of sex scenes in this show. So every time a sex scene comes on, and I slowly look at her like, and she's like, you're not allowed to watch this. You're not allowed to watch this. I'm like, because she trying to cover my eyes, just playing around, She doesn't really care, but she's trying to cover my eyes, and I'm like, trying to see the screen. But yeah, this show is great. I recommend y'all watching it if you haven't watched it yet. And let's go ahead and jump into the topic. I know people are like, man, just get to the freaking topic at hand. Well, that's what I'm about to do. All right, so check it out. Everything I'm going to say, it means no disrespect. I do not mean any disrespect to any kind of branch of military. I'm just going to tell it how it is, all right? The majority of people that I've seen in jail and prison that were locked up that were military. They were either locked up for domestic assault, having pills, or drinking and driving drunk in public, okay? And my first time seeing a bunch of military in a block was in Virginia Beach City Jail. They threw me into a block, okay? First of all, they put me in the wrong block. Classification messed up, okay? They gave me orange band. I never have orange band. That's like low or medium security. And they put me in this misdemeanor block, and I was gonna ride it out. You know, I was like, man, I'll ride it out. Might be fun. People might have money. Well, it turned out that block was horrible. I got out of there within 2 days of being put in that block. I went up to Lieutenant. I said, look, man, y'all classified me wrong. I'm going to the penitentiary. Y'all got me surrounded by all these freaking short timers. They ain't even buying canteen because they're going home. Everybody's going home in like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So I had to get out of there. But while I was in there, I seen a lot of military, okay? Especially Navy guys. And these Navy guys, man, every Navy guy that I've seen is like they could not handle doing time. They're always whining and asking all the crazy questions. Man, what do you think I'm gonna get for this? What do you think? What do you think's gonna happen? And I'm like, man, just chill out. It's a damn drunken public, dude. You'll be out, okay? As soon as your little officer comes to the courtroom for you or whatever stands next to you, you're gonna be out. All right, just chill out. Stop asking me about this freaking crap. You got drunken public. You got drunk jaywalking. You shouldn't even be in jail. You know what I mean? You shouldn't stop. You shouldn't have been talking crap to the cop. But yeah, these dudes would whine all the time about they can't be doing this time. They gotta get out of here. And of course, no one really messed with them too much because they were in a misdemeanor block. You know, every military guy that I've seen get locked up, they might have gotten a little bit of a hard time every now and then, especially the ones that were whining about their charges. But for the most part, they never, you know, people never really messed with them. I don't think it was because it was military, they were ex-military. I think it was just because they were carrying themselves the proper way. Trust and believe, people do not give a damn if you're ex-military or not. Okay, they don't care. They'll try you either way. I was locked up with a few that had some serious charges as well. I remember this one ex-Marine. This guy was cleaning his gun and it went off and went through the wall and killed his baby. Real story. I mean, you look it up. This happened in Chesapeake. Type in ex-Marine or Marine accidentally shoots baby. It's absolutely insane. I don't see how a trained professional with guns would be cleaning a freaking gun with a bullet in the chamber. It makes no sense. But guy got spared. You know, I think he only got like 3 years, and he was allowed to be trustee. You know, when you got violent charges, you're not allowed to be a trustee. So they really looked out for this guy. They had to have known that it was a complete accident. I don't know the full details on the case, but that is what happened. You know, he was cleaning his gun, went off, went through a whole wall, and killed his own kid. Another guy that I was locked up with, this guy got a lot of time, man. I think he got 17 years. He was a Navy guy, and he was high ranked. I think he was chief. And he was trying to quit smoking cigarettes. He was drinking and driving. And he's like, screw it. He lit up a real cigarette. He was smoking the little e-cigarettes is from what he told me. And he was tired of them. So he lit up a real cigarette while he was drunk, drinking and driving. And he dropped a cigarette in his lap and he tried to pick it up, swerved into the lane, and killed an old couple, okay? And they were on their 70th anniversary. Killed them on their freaking anniversary. Can you believe that? So he got a drinking and driving or whatever manslaughter charge. But yeah, homeboy got oiled up. I believe he got 17 years. His career was over. He lost his house, his wife. He lost everything because he was drinking and driving and wanted to smoke himself a Marlboro. Man, your life can change in an instant. One wrong move and your life can be changed in an instant. So please, please, please do not be drinking and driving. Now, another incident, I was locked up with someone, man. This guy was fascinating, and I think I touched into this story in a live stream. This guy was super fascinating, okay? He had some crazy freaking stories. He worked for Blackwater. I believe that's what they're called, Blackwater back in the day. And he was in there for killing some unarmed people over there in Afghanistan or whatever. But the stories that he told me were crazy, man. He knew all kinds of languages. These guys were like kind of like hired hitmen, you know what I mean? And he would say he's been to all kinds of different places all over the world, and he was telling me about exotic buildings in Dubai and all these different languages and tribes in Africa. I was like, man, this guy is the most fascinating guy in the world, you know what I mean? And another crazy story about ex-military guy. This guy was an ex-army, and you know, it's funny because out here in this area where I'm surrounded by all this military, Back in the day when I used to go club hopping over there in the ocean front, you'd see a lot of military. Okay, you see Army, all kinds of variety. You see Army, Navy, and these guys, man, they're like gangs. Okay, for real, they're like gangs. Not because they were committing violence upon pedestrians or anything like that, or selling drugs or robbing, but they hated each other. I'm talking about, it was like every time a group of Army guys went past, a group of Navy guys, they would just start, beefing. I've seen so many fights break out between Navy and Army. And this stuff would happen all the time at the ocean front. I don't know what it is. Maybe someone that's in those branches can inform me on something. I mean, are y'all really beefing like that? Why do y'all not like each other, It's kind of like listening to a bunch of different blood cliques beefing within their own organization. I just don't get it. I do have another crazy story about this ex-Army guy. This was before I met Brittany, okay? This was before I met Brittany, and I was locked up in jail for the first time in my life, but I was in there for a long time already. I think I was already about 9 or 10 months into my stay, so I pretty much had a hang of everything. But anyways, this dude, he said he was ex-Army, and then he said he retired and became a diesel mechanic, okay? Diesel mechanic, and he worked in Antarctica. I said, man, hell no. You ain't working no freaking Antarctica. He said, come upstairs with me. And he showed me pictures of him in Antarctica. It was absolutely insane. The people that you meet while you're locked up. This guy, he said, I don't know if this was true or not, but he showed me pictures and it damn sure, it seemed true. Maybe someone could leave a comment in the comment section and tell me if this is exactly what they do in Antarctica. This guy said that they have like gold dials that are drilled into the ice, like real gold, drilled into the ice so that people can see. I can't remember how he explained it, but something along the lines of how Antarctica is shifting every so amount of years, and they would keep the dial drilled into ice and do their research by it. But this guy had crazy stories, and he always needed 3 ways on the phone, and he would always call his daughter. So he started showing me pictures of his daughter, and keep this in mind, this was before I met Brittany. So he was showing me pictures of his daughter and stuff like that. She was my age. I said, look, man, I'll give you as many freaking 3 ways as you want, but you got to put me on with your daughter, dog. No disrespect now. No disrespect. So every time I gave him a 3-way, I would either end the call or begin the call by talking to his daughter, spitting a little bit of game. And it turned out she started visiting me and writing me. I didn't keep writing her when I went to prison or anything. It kind of just fell apart. But while I was in jail, every letter and every phone call to a girl and hearing her voice, it helped. You know what I mean? So it was pretty crazy how I got into the mix of that with homeboy's daughter. You never know. You never know how things will unfold in life. But, as far as do they get picked on, do they get messed with? No. Military, they're just the same as any other inmate, except a lot of them have some good stories. I know in prison, though, I met these 2 guys that were in prison. All right, and these dudes had the same story pretty much, that they got hooked on pills. They got hooked on pills from was the VA, and then they turned to heroin and stuff like that. And this was before my brother passed away from heroin, and my brother was an ex-Marine, and VA fed him pills on a regular basis. I'm talking about huge vials of pills, and looking back at it, it's pretty much the same story as my brother. A lot of these guys that get injured in battle, and the military just feeds them with pills. Sad to say, but that's how it goes. And they end up getting addicted, or their little pills run out, and they have to turn to the next best thing, which is dope. So if you are in the military and you have some kind of injury, please try to handle your injuries without pills. There's a lot of different alternatives to it. And if you do have to use pills, use them wisely. Do not get addicted. I know some people are severely injured, and, there's no way around it. You got to take pills to survive and kill the pain. I understand that. But let's say you don't have a super serious injury. Try to find alternative methods to relaxing. Like my back. I could easily take one of those Vicodins, whatever my wife has in the medicine cabinet from her surgery not too long ago. But I don't. I've never liked pills. The only thing I've taken for my back is 600 milligram ibuprofen, and that stuff, coming from someone that never takes pills, when you take 600 milligram ibuprofen. That thing freaking works. You know what I mean? I popped that thing. I was like, dang, I don't have no back pain. So yeah, that's about it for the whole military thing, man. If you're in the military and you're facing some jail or prison time, don't go in there and think, hey, you tell people, hey, yeah, I'm ex-military, that's gonna, put fear into people's hearts. It's not. They're gonna look at you the same as the next man. They might think you can do some grappling moves or something, but that ain't gonna stop them from testing you. So always humble yourself and don't think yourself higher than others just because you were ex-military. No one cares about that crap in jail and prison. They're gonna be asking you the same question as anyone else. You gonna eat that freaking cornbread, homeboy? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done it already. Check out all the links in the description of the video. Add me up on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. Check out my Patreon. Check out Teespring. Buy yourself some merchandise, 23-in-1 hoodie. And also go show your support and subscribe to my wife's channel, The Compound 24/7. And be on the lookout within the next day or so. I'm going to be having rapper Mike and Matt back on the show, and we're going to have some interesting things to talk about. I know a lot of y'all enjoy those podcast style videos. But as always, I salute to every last one of you who've been supporting me since the beginning and everyone who is just now joining the Lockdown Compound. Y'all be safe, be easy, and happy holidays.